What's happening, folks? I'm drop a topic of discussion on you, man, while I ride down this hill road. It really ain't even up for debate. I'm just talking to be talking. You can take it or leave it. I ain't really got nothing else to do. But here we go. Check this out. I was listening to a podcast, and the podcast was talking about relationships, mainly marriages, where a group of women were talking about how normal and common it was for women to have a stash of money put away just in case. Now, we all heard about putting stashes of money away and having your little rainy day fund and just in case stuff like that. But this particular stash wasn't like for a bill or anything like that. I don't know exactly what it's called. They said it, I don't remember. But it's a stash of money that you put away and you keep adding to it and you put it away. And it's a just in case fund, just in case the relationship doesn't work out, just in case the marriage doesn't work out. It's particularly talking about marriages. And I listened to the podcast with no judgment. I listened and I actually understood it, because even back with my grandmother, I remember my grandmama having, a little stash of money put away. I don't know if my granddad knew about it or not, but I just knew she had a stash of money put away. I remember my mama having a stash of money put away. I don't know if everybody else, remember stuff like that, but I always remember that, it was like a pot in the kitchen, in the cabinet, tucked away somewhere. It'd be a pot with cash money in it, or it'd be in the bedroom, tucked away in the closet somewhere, in an old pocketbook or something. Maybe a stash of money that women had. I understood that. The problem that I took with this is that this was a podcast, and I don't know if it was geared towards women, but it was only women on this particular topic that they were talking about. And they were just talking about the benefits of having this emergency stash, or this just in case stash of money in case the relationship didn't work out. I began to think on that, and I began to think like how the mindset has to be for a person to go into a relationship, get to the point of being engaged, get to the point of accepting the engagement, get to the point of being married, and through all of that, you're consistently putting money away just in case the marriage doesn't work. Now, here's where the problem comes in. This emergency stash, by the rule of women, can't be touched. It don't matter what bill come up. It don't matter what emergency comes up. This money, by the rule of the women on this show, the emergency stash can't be touched. So whatever your living situation is, whether the man is paying all the bills or y'all splitting the bills, whatever the case may be, no matter what goes on, if there's a situation where y'all need to put y'all hands on a large amount of money, the woman has this stash put away, but you can't touch it. She won't touch it, pretty much. She refuses to give her stash to not only her husband, but to her family, kids, nobody. There's no justification for a woman to touch this emergency stash unless a divorce takes place. Now, listening to the podcast, they go into detail, like some women, they say they have friends, some women have like 20 stacks put away. Another woman says she know a friend that got 100 stacks put away. And they just consistently adding to it. Now, depending on what happens in the relationship, you just keep adding to it. You never subtract. You never stop putting into your stash. You never consider spending the stash. The only time the stash gets touched, if a divorce takes place. I'm listening to it. I get it. I understand it. But the mindset really was, it wasn't upsetting, but it was alarming to me. And I'm going to tell you why. Speaking as a man, I like to pride myself on being a budgeter. I like to pride myself on being a man who's responsible with money. I like to pride myself on being a man who takes care of paying bills, getting them paid on time, still having a little money put to the side to save for a rainy day, whether that be a vacation, whether that be emergency, whether that be just to have some money to fall back on just in case the car breaks down, you get fired, whatever the case may be. I like to pride myself on being a man who's responsible with money. I don't just blow money just to be blowing it. I'm responsible with it. I take care of the responsibilities first. I take care of all the needs of those who are connected to me, family members first. And then whatever's left is going into savings. And then if we have something left, that can be leisure money to spend here and there. Nothing major, no extreme spending, but just something nice for yourself here and there. You notice the order I put that in, where getting something nice for myself was dead last. I know a lot of men that operate this way. Now, going back to the podcast and doing like a comparison, you know, I'm not trying to do a gender war type situation, but what was alarming was how women were just not only okay with the ideal of withholding money from the family, from the spouse, but the mentality of this is for my divorce only. That was alarming to me, that people go into a marriage expecting and preparing while being married to be divorced. That was alarming to me. But then I flipped it and I thought about men that I know, men that I've dealt with, men that I've even heard about. The way we operate, like I just gave you that example of taking care of money and being responsible, how the man comes last. That's how a lot of men that I know operate. I don't know any man that has a stash of money put away and saying, hey, this is my stash just in case I get a divorce. I know pretty much every man that I know, married or not, has a stash. And that stash is basically just for emergencies. If it's not for an emergency, it's a man saving up to get something he really wants, or to get something that maybe his wife really wants, or his child really wants, and he's saving it little bit by little bit so that it doesn't affect the day-to-day operation of the household. I'm not going to take away from paying mortgage, car notes, car insurance, the things that we really need, light bills, stuff like that. I'm not going to take away from those major bills just to get you something. I would rather save a little bit at a time and get it over the course of a few months, maybe even a year or years, whatever the case may be. If I know my wife really wants a car and I'm trying to surprise her with a car or something like that, I'm going to save up to it versus just taking out a big chunk of money and putting us in debt or messing up our bills or whatever the case may be. So I know all men have a stash of some sort, but here's the thing, difference from what the women were talking about. They have a stash just for divorce. Men have a stash, but if something comes up, we go to the stash. If an emergency comes up, if a bill comes up, if something unexpected, the car breaks down, there's a repairs that needs to be done to the house, or the kids have something come up that needs to be done, we immediately go to our stash, and it's without question. We don't have a stash that we say, hey, the family can't touch. No, we got a stash, and yeah, we're trying to save up and get some, but if push comes to shove, the responsibility and the mentality of the man kicks in like, hey, I got to take care of these people around me and my household first. So if I have to dip into my stash, I just have to dip into my stash. But I just heard on this podcast how a lot of them don't even consider that. And then I'm looking at the difference between men that I know and the women who were talking on this particular podcast. I can't say that women I know actually feel this way because I haven't spoken to any woman about this particular subject. But the men that I know, every one of us would go into the stash for the family, for our spouse, for our kids, hey, for a close friend, for the bros, for your partner. If my partner say, man, I'm in trouble, boy, I need this, that, and the other, it ain't no thing to go into the stash, right? How many of us men done went into the stash for bail money for your partner? How many of us done went into the stash for gas money for your partner? How many of us done went into the stash to help your partner throw a birthday party for their kids and they running short? How many of us threw a little something to our partner when he was planning the wedding for him and his lady, and they was doing this, that, and other? You threw him a little money, then threw him a little extra, then threw him something when it came time to buy him a wedding gift. How many of us then dipped into the stash When we were saving up to get that new truck, that motorcycle, saving up for a trip, you know, I'm talking about me for a minute, saving up for the Super Bowl coming to Atlanta, and you saving your money because you want to get them Super Bowl tickets when it comes to the A. But guess what? If something come up, I'm dipping into the stash. There's no way I'm saying, hey, I'm sorry, this came up, but, this my stash and it's my stash only, and I can't share this with the family. Ain't no way I'm saying that. Even if the stash don't get touched, when I do get the motorcycle I'm saving up for, you know who's going to be riding with me? My woman. The truck I'm saving up for, you know who's going to be riding with me? My woman, my kids. Them Super Bowl tickets I'm saving up for, you know who's going with me? My woman, 9 times out of 10. But it was just crazy how in that podcast, like, women's like they got their stash, but the man don't even get to see it. He don't get no benefits of it. Not saying that the man is asking for it, but like I say, if an emergency or something comes up, they're refusing to dip into the stash. That's crazy to me. Now, Carrie, just watch this. Women do this for generations because, grandmamas tell their daughters and daughters tell their daughters, and everybody just passes down the line to women, hey, baby, you need to have your stash. But you need to have a stash in case you get a divorce. When we pass on that logic to other men, like, hey, bro, you need to put some money to the side, you need to save some money. It's never for just the man. Put that money to the side just in case something happens with your family. Put that money to the side to get you what you want, but if something happens or something comes up, you got a little extra money that you can go put your hands on so that your family's not in the bind. That's just how men roll. That's how the men I know roll. So I just thought that was something, man. I just thought the mentality between, certain people was just different, man. Like, I just, real talk, don't know any man that withholds a large stash of money from his spouse or withholds it from his kids. But these women, and it could be just for internet purposes, it could be just for views and likes, I don't know. Like I said, I don't necessarily know a woman who does this. I haven't spoken to anybody about this, but it was just amazing to me that they were agreeing with it. The women that were on the show, the women who were like commenting in the little section of comments while it was live or whatever the case may be, how everybody was just okay with this, and they just like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, me personally, I ain't feeling that. You know what I'm talking about? If my wife planning for divorce while we together, we don't need to be married. If my wife put money to the side for a divorce while we married, then what was the point of getting married? What was the point of the engagement? You know what I'm talking about? If something happens and now we're deciding to split and we're deciding to go our separate ways, when that decision is made and you're like, okay, yeah, I need to start putting some money to the side because I got to get my own place. I understand that because I actually went through that. All my money was in the family. All my money was there for wife and kids and everybody else. And when it came time for a decision to be made to say, hey, this relationship ain't working, we got to split. Now I got to start saving. I have to start saving. I ain't been saving. I have to start saving to move on. But if you saving to move on, when ain't nothing wrong and things is good, like you started saving, preparing for the possibility of a divorce while we was engaged, while we was planning the wedding, while we was on honeymoon, while we was good and taking family trips and everything was all good, you was still sliding money to the side just in case of a divorce. Yeah, that's a whole problem. That's just me talking. Y'all feel how y'all want to feel. I'm just talking. It ain't even enough for discussion. I'm just talking.